Welcome to Waters World. I'm Dan Bongino in for Jesse tonight. I want to challenge the Georgia boycotters to live by their own rules. I have a three-point plan that applies to winning the narrative against Democrats on just about any subject. Here's point one. We have to adopt the Alinsky rules. Listen, he wasn't one of the good guys. I think we know that. I know that. But his rules for organizing absolutely work. They didn't. Liberals wouldn't use them on us. And if we don't adopt them, we'll be overrun by them. Period. We need to take back the narrative on the Georgia election law, because it's not just about Georgia. It's about cleaning up elections everywhere, all over the country. And they're trying to intimidate other states to not do the same thing. Look what's going to happen to you. We're going to boycott you. So let's win the day back. And let's adopt some of Alinsky's rules and turn them back on them. Rule number 4 from Alinsky's Rules for Radicals is make the enemy live up to its own book of rules. Well, Marco Rubio, senator from right here in Florida, did that. He adopted that Alinsky rule, sending a letter to the commissioner of Major League Baseball, Rob Manfred, who moved the All-Star game from the largely black city of Atlanta to the largely white city of Denver, because you're fighting racism or something like that. Sure, it makes sense, I guess, if you're a liberal. Well, Rubio asked Manfred if Major League Baseball will now end its engagement with nations that don't even hold elections, like China and Cuba, and if he intends to resign as a member from Augusta National Golf Club, which is located in Georgia. Make them live up to their own rules every time. Look at Coca-Cola. They want to speak out against a law that requires people to show voter ID because that's definitely racist, again, or something like that. But to get into their annual shareholder meeting, you need, quote, a valid photo ID and an admission ticket. Let's look at Delta, which, of course, also sent out a weak, virtue-signaling, pathetic statement about how much they objected to the Georgia law. But they require travel documents from Delta to travel within the United States. Travel documents to include a valid U.S. government-issued photo ID, a photo ID, or a passport from your country of origin to travel through security. Weird. So to fly to attend the Coca-Cola shareholder meeting, to pick up tickets at a Major League Baseball game, you need a photo ID. But to engage in the most sacred, important civic activity, you definitely don't need a photo ID because it's totally racist? Okay. Tactic number 2. If you don't have to outrun all the bears, you just have to outrun one. Listen, we don't have to outsmart every single company that boycotts the state of Georgia. We probably can't. We don't have to make an example out of every single one. That'd be too difficult. But we can outrun one of them. And believe me, everyone will get the message afterwards. Let's go to Alinsky's rules again. This time, rule number 13. Pick the target. Freeze it. Personalize it. Polarize it. Left uses this on us all the time. Commissioner Manfred had no problem targeting you and your state. If you work in Atlanta, and we're going to be part of one of the financial beneficiaries of having the All-Star game in your state and the millions of dollars of economic activity that come with it, that's now lost and gone, you could be potentially out of a job, or your wallet shrinks and disappears because of Manfred's decisions. Why don't you pay Manfred back the favor? Pick the target. Freeze it. Isolate it. Folks, we're the renegades now. No one's coming to save us. The conservatives, we're the real counterculture revolution now. We may not have the power, we may not have all the money, we may not have the cultural power in academia, we may not have the power in Hollywood, we certainly don't have the power in professional sports, we don't even have the power in the DC swamp. But we have one thing, and this is where tactic number 3 comes in. We have people. We have a whole lot of people. About 75 million by my last count. That's an astonishingly big number. That goes back to Alinsky's rule number 1. Power is not only what you have, but what the enemy thinks you have. And power is derived from 2 main sources, money and people. The have-nots, that's us right now, must build power from flesh and blood. You've got to show up. You've got to bring your flesh. You actually have to show up. What better way to send a message to the destructive, anti-American, modern, liberal left? Now you have my tactics. We need a Trump rally down there in Atlanta. We have to hone these tactics to win. No more surviving. We've got to win, start taking back some ideological ground. We are on the right side of history. Freedom and liberty is never a losing mission. Remember, I always say the do matters. Action matters, not the talk. Talk is cheap. You got to do. Remember that.